smashed by the Lions up at the Gabba. And if you think the heat was on then, well, they wouldn't want to cop another hiding here from another bottom 4 team in St Kilda. Matty Cruiser, he'll have a very big role to play, and hopefully he can get the Blues started. What we basically would love to see is another rematch like that 2011 Classic we saw a short time ago. But right now we're going to head to Etihad Stadium. This is a big one. It's St Kilda against Carlton at Etihad Stadium. Let's head there now for the first bounce.
A lot of different reasons.
And for the coaches as well, I reckon, tonight, don't you?
Absolutely. Expectations for the Saints were higher coming into this season, so probably more to lose. Let's hope we get a good quality game of footy between these two teams.
Cruiser helmet on, umpire Matt Stevic along with Jeff Dalglish and Andre Gianfagna to do it out of the middle.
Holding the man, Carlton. Straight away. Back here, play on.
First ball going Carlton's way, and Cripps with the first official touch of the game. Falling to the ground on that occasion was Marchbank, and little one out to Simpson now. Simpson on the left foot just goes backwards and buys a little bit of space for Rowe. Rowe to Lamb. Centre half back here. St Kilda coming forward here. Gresham really came forward with speed and did well in applying the tackle against Lamb.
Shaw involved in a couple of little plays there for the Blues. First game for them. So Stephen short from Gresham.
Play on! Play on!
Hard runner, Stephen, we know that. And speaking of hard runners, so is Savage. And that was a neat kick, wasn't it? And Cruiser got a big thump away. Cripps underneath. Well done to Garlett. It's okay. To Curnow to Ed. And then out wide. He was looking for Pickett. He kept his feet. That was the first and most important thing he had to do. Then hooks the ball back. He may have run out by the look of it.
The intent early on by Carlton is to play on quick. To handball receives, running from behind. If St Kilda's pressure is really sharp early, they'll be able to shut that down quickly.
And Gilbert's gone to Charlie Curnow, so the athleticism worrying them a little bit. Gilbert is a good athlete.
Steele going to Cripps. Hickey palm down. Gee, Dow, I'm not sure he had the footy. Unlucky not to get the free. Murphy shuffled the little handball back to Dow, and he inched the ball forward. A difficult bounce for Charlie Curnow. Pickett got bundled over. Fisher got driven in the Webster. Hip and shoulder right in front of where Richo is sitting tonight on the Richmond bench, Duck.
Yeah, that's real aggression from Webster. Seen a strong tackle by Gresham, and then that attack on the footy. So they're hard at it early, the Saints.
Both those players have had good seasons, haven't they, Webster and Fisher? Fisher, a rising star, I reckon. Good pick-up and well done by Sinclair. And then Sinclair's kick to centre half forward. Picked off by Simpson. Thomas, well done to Murphy. So the real veterans there, the three that have played the 200s and 300s. Hickey dropped it down. He should... Well, he gets away with one. Cruiser got him.
No prior.
In the helmet. Tight-fitting helmets, as we're seeing now. Are we going to see a lot of players and those, do you think, going forward?
Read a bit about that type of helmet during the week, and a number of players starting to adopt it. I'm sure there'll be plenty of research going to just how much they protect. It'll be interesting to watch over the next 12 or 18 months, given the bigger emphasis on concussion and concussion treatment.
I don't know enough about it. Some people say that the helmet, because it is a jarring of the brain when you get a really hard knock, and does the helmet really help that? That's the big question, mate.
The other thing they say is it gives the players too much confidence to use their head as well. I'm not so sure about that. Here's Billings, want to get onto his left, couldn't straighten. Jack can go all the way from there. Jack Stephen needs to get it over the top here. A little bit short, didn't give it enough air. Opportunity there for Marshall. And well done by Lamb in the end.
Let it go!
Better movement there by the Saints. Terrific run from Jack Stephen. How often have we seen that from St Kilda? It's just how much they can share that load through the middle of the ground as to how far they can go up the ladder in the future. It can't just be Jack Stephen to the Saints.
Carlton. Thank you.
So Cripps still just getting into his back. A couple of early wins for Cripps here. Careful kick and a good one. Mackay.
The Carlton fans will be very happy that he's out on the field. They just want to see him 6 games, 12 goals. He's shown a little bit.
Nunes' kick. Jones had to commit, did really well, Jones, didn't he? And then can he find a target? No, he coughs it up and cut off by McKenzie. And then the Saints to square it. Stephen busy early, as you would expect he would. And for the second time, he finds Savage. Savage's kick doesn't quite get to Gresham. He is so skillful, though. Gets almost within range. Poking, going forward. That's a great mark. Marshall.
Fascinating player, Jones, isn't he? He's got a great highlights reel, as you can see there, and he's got a pretty good bloopers reel as well. He can give you both in one play.
Yep.
And it's when he gets his starting points just a little bit off too, Duck, where he starts thinking he can outread the forward, gets himself into a little bit of trouble.
Now, Marshall's been a bit nervy in front of goal this year. 1 goal, 6 from the set shots, but surely here to give the Saints the good start, and he gets it home, and look how happy he is. Not quite the Rory Sloane response, but it was pretty big, wasn't it?
Alan Richardson spoke to us not that long ago, Bruce, saying he's got an opportunity up there. Paddy McCartan's out for a couple of weeks.
Yep.
He's going to start him there and just see how he goes, so he'll be wrapped with that start.
A little bit of by-play off the footy. Fair bit of niggle off the footy here. See a lot of players going up to Charlie Curnow. When you're a good player, unfortunately, this is what will happen to you. They'll test you out physically.
Charlie keeping the arms in and protecting the chest area as Carlisle tried to just slide one in there or two. The Saints out of the middle once again here. Marshall, second shot in as many minutes. Sprays it right.
There's only one way to respond to that type of tension, and that is take a big mark, kick a big goal, because then all of a sudden they don't do that anymore.
Is it fair to say too, early on in your career, if you stand up strong that and mark, as you said, do it in the right way, they just stop trying it for the rest of your career.
And if you get a kick, as I said, they stop doing it then as well. It can fire some players up. I get the feeling Charlie might be one of those.
Cripps short little ball wide here. Petrevski-Seton. Half-back. 29,000 or so in the house here, looking at the way that it's panning out. Here's Murphy.
Play on.
Told to go, so a very stagnant Carlton start here at the moment. Not a lot of momentum pushing forward. Mackay underneath the footy there. Handball comes out originally from Sinclair. Geary deliberately sliding along the ground to Dunstan. Let's get down to you, Richo, on the St Kilda bench.
Yeah, thanks, BT. Jack, you're the first player to come off first rotation. Is that a preset move?
Yeah, yep. I need as much rest as I can get, so I normally come off pretty early and then get back on and try and use my pace.
Is that just how your lungs are feeling, or is it a set time?
Sort of just set the first one, so I like to keep them rotating short bursts so I can use my speed.
Let you get your breath. Thanks, mate.
Good stuff, Richard. So 3 disposals at 100%. He's also feeling pretty good about himself, isn't he? Lamb's kick. So Blues unable really to have any penetration so far. They've sort of got it to this point a couple of times, maybe 3-4, but not anything inside that forward 50 with any purpose. Mackay's had to come up the ground again. Here is Curnow. Second effort was okay, then Dow. She was slammed down there, Dow, and you heard the call. Gilbert making the tackle. So Savage's kick is a neat one. Saints are on top here at the moment. Billings should find the target, and remembering he does. That transition was pretty easy. They've got another one on here. And like all good full forwards, memory sort of slow to react, so he just has to have a shot, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's clever. Exactly right, Bruce. And Saints have started the way they needed to start this game. Pressure's been high, created some turnovers. They haven't let Carlton have an inside 50 yet. It's 6-0. Exactly the way St Kilda needed to start this game.
So much talked about his inaccuracy early in the season. He's straightened it up, hasn't he? And look at that. Have a look at that. That's a beautiful kick. So there you go. I mean, full credit to him. He was in the wars, wasn't he? I mean, he had the yips.
He did. it's almost it spread to him, didn't it?
Yep.
The teamship spread to him because generally it was a great kick.
Oh, fantastic, Wayne, but he couldn't make one. Couldn't make a 3-foot putt, could he? But that was never going to miss. He's had a pretty good year as it's turned out. He's starting to build.
This is the intent you need to start with. Fantastic tackle by Sam Gilbert. That's a physical tackle. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
And they've got their memory back. Have a look at that. 17-3 since round 10, Bruce.
How long have you been working on that?
He's back. Make no mistake about it. Dunstan. Little opportunity here. Fisher, Ed Curnow, Thomas. And now the run of Petrevski-Seton. Couldn't quite get the opportunity to use the footy on that occasion. Little one from Garlett went along the ground and they're able to mop up once again. Handball comes back in the direction of Sinclair. It was Geary that got it to him. He goes deep along the line looking for Marshall. Jones holding off while he waits for someone else to arrive. That man was Clark. He was really not much help in that contest though. Marchbank, handball out the back. There's Shaw, now Fisher, and now Petrevski-Seton.
Just got a little bit. Oh, Simpson was outstanding there. He was under huge pressure. Kennedy to Thomas, and then Thomas's little one to Curnow,
Thank you. Close.
Sucking it in Dunstan. Curnow, good kick inboard. Can the Blues get something going? Gets it back, Curnow. And again, a lovely kick to Cripps. Two terrific kicks by Charlie Curnow.
Stay out there, please.
He's a superb field kick, isn't he?
Yeah. So Cripps having a crack here. Not quite going to get there. And Geary getting back up behind.
It just comes natural to Charlie Curnow because he understands what he likes as a forward. So as soon as he wins it, centre wing or even half back, he plays on straight away.
Rice looking a little confused at which way he will go here. In the end, he puts it between two St Kilda players and they weren't sure who it was meant for. Kennedy out there. So the Blues get a second opportunity in their forward half here.
Thank you. Cheers.
2-goal start to the Saints. Mackay and Hickey. Kennedy. Fisher to Murphy and back again to Fisher. Remember, he's a left footer. Slid the handball. Now in trouble, Garlett took him on.
Holding the ball, St.Kilda.
Incorrect disposal. Holding the ball, says umpire Andre Gianfacta.
And Rice to take a free kick. That's bad enough because Fisher had really created, hadn't he? He'd taken them on.
Move it on.
Possibly could have kicked from there to the top of the square. Good player, Fisher. Big ball out, row got high, and that might be out on the fall-off, Loney. It is, so Carlton to reset here. That was fantastic by Simpson, wasn't it?
Brilliant.
I mean, is he having career best season or close enough to it?
Well, he's at the level that he's played at it, where he's just been so good for so long. But yeah,
his numbers suggest that he is.
Yeah,
I mean, in a losing team, I realise that, but good mark in the front again by Cripps. Oh, what a start by Cripps.
Thanks, guys.
And he's been doing it in the back half, and now in the front half. What's he handling here?
This will be disposal number 6 for Paddy Cripps, and being tagged by Jack Steele. This is exactly what you love a midfielder to be able to do when you're getting tagged. Go forward, take a mark, and hopefully kick a goal.
6 possessions, 5 contested.
Well, I needed to judge that a bit better and be there a little quicker. Surely he had no other opponent.
And this is maybe the one extra little thing that you would love him to do is hit the scoreboard. Right, he actually does against the Saints. He's got a good record. He's hit the scoreboard there and he loves it. He's a warrior, isn't he?
Positions.
I reckon you blokes would have loved to have played with him. You played with a lot of great players. You'd love to have played with him.
You can see he's a young player that loves that physical contact. He loves players taking him on. He loves players bumping into him. In actual fact, you'd be silly to go and run up to him. It just fires players like that up.
What a start he's made.
Straight away into Jack Steele, and they came from everywhere. I like it. Fire your team up. You kick a goal. He started the game well. Get the blood flowing a little bit. Who says this game of footy doesn't mean something to the players? Every game of footy means something when you're out there on the field.
I think it might have a little bit of round 8 last time they played here at Etihad Stadium last year in front of 38,000. Remember it? The Saints by 19. There was a lot of that sort of stuff going on in the game. And it still hasn't dissipated from the memories. Richo?
Thanks, BT. Yeah, Dunstan's just gone down into the rooms with the doc to have a little check. He's copped a knock to the head, and it was really interesting. When he came from the ground, the doc, Tim Barber, had a look at some footage here on the screen to my left. They had a really close look at that, then a chat to Luke on the interchange bench. Now he's gone down into the room, so we'll keep an eye on that, but just shows you how thorough they are now.
Nice work, Richo. Bird's eye position there on the St Kilda bench. There's Webster. Had to get rid of it straight away. A little handball came out of there from Rice initially, but to no avail. Ed Curnow goes backwards. Simpson, a little bit of a fumble. Ed able to mop up once again. This kick needs to be good, and it's not. And Noons. A risky kick across the face of goal. You've got to be perfect. And Ed was not. I think it was meant for sure. And just kicked a little behind him.
Ed, I'm not going to say any more to you. If I see one, I'll play one. I've had enough. No.
So the umpire,
there you go,
had enough already. That's Matty Stevic, very experienced man. Says, that's it, I've had enough. Going to pay the next one. So now Noons, 30 metres, beautiful kick. Really nice kick. 3 goals to 1.
He's had a pretty good goal-kicking year, Noons. I think he kicked 4 against Collingwood. He's improved, I think. I think each year he's actually got a bit better. He's played a lot of continuous football.
No, he has, and he's shown that he's a really good player.
I think so.
Really play at this level, but that's just a skill error Carlton can't afford to have. Nothing you can do about that from the coach's box.
Yeah.
Well, Rich, you must be really pleased with this start. Pretty positive.
You know, the guys, our pressure in the front has been good. We've been able to turn the footy over a bit, Richo. That's been pleasing. Steely's doing a reasonable job on Cripps. Cripps has given us a bit of headache both on kick-ins and when he's gone forward, so we'll have to tighten up a little bit there, but by and large it's been pretty positive.
Is Gilbert set for Curnow for the whole night?
It depends a little bit on where Curnow is, but if he's high, then yeah, we'll certainly go that way.
Thanks, Richo.
Pushing it back, Carlton. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to the St Kilda Football Club, giving us great access, and it'll continue throughout the night. Here's Fisher. Tries to over-kick the footy, I reckon. Bailey Rice started the game okay. Carlisle. And trying to caress it a little too much. Marchbank to Shaw. From a Gold Coast player. Kicks inside. Carlisle with the big body. Then he tries to burst through. Charlie Curnow happy to drive him into the ground as well. Murphy with a beautiful kick. Little handball to Thomas on the run. 30 and closing. Dale Thomas. Good run. Beautiful centering kick. And Thomas in a nice finishing position. Pretty happy with himself, and why not? Daisy Thomas had a pretty good year, Daisy Thomas, I've got to say.
Well, his numbers are quite exceptional. They're different numbers to when he was at his best at Collingwood.
Yeah, they are very different.
But they're high.
Fantastic running goal from Daisy Thomas. Lockie O'Brien smart enough to realise who was running past him. Great finish. Been an entertaining start. It's going to be hard for the Blues from here because Matty Cruiser went to the bench about 8 minutes ago and disappeared down the race and hasn't reappeared yet. So they've had only the 3 on the bench for the past 8 minutes. We're not sure what's going on with Matty Cruiser, unfortunately.
He's had groin and ankle problems this year, hasn't he? So
hold there.
Curnow doing the ruck work there. Geary cuts it off.
They definitely don't want Curnow in the ruck too often tonight.
Totally agree with that.
Savage, that one, Stephen was just quicker to it than Dow. And then the tackle by Kennedy was good enough, I reckon, in the end. Webster's handball, coughed it up. Murphy's handball was intercepted by Sinclair. Murphy gets it back. Shaw, Fisher, gee, he's a good player. He got through brilliantly, Fisher, and laces out Kennedy. He's the one, Fisher, I mean, Cripps and Curnow, sure, but he's cutting the line, isn't he? Like him a lot. So let's see if Kennedy can get the job done from here. One of the numerous ex-GWS players around the league now. Is that going to hold the line? You betcha. So Carlton get back to 3 goals apiece.
You're right about Fisher, Bruce.
3 inside
really
50s.
covers the ground well.
Yeah, he could play.
He's a line breaker.
Got orientation, hasn't he? He knows where he is.
Yeah.
Sounds stupid, but you know what I mean.
No, he's growing week by week.
He's courageous and he's quick. And skillful.
And this is an example of what you're talking about here, Bruce. You can see there, Fisher, another inside 50. That's 3 inside 50s, and that delivery, well, that's what forwards dream of.
Charlie Curnow into the ruck against Hickey. Clearing ball out of the middle from Dow, I think it was. Gets it deep inside 50. Gilbert under. Silvani pressure. Webster able to tidy it up here. Saints here through Bailey Rice. Noons is away off halfback. They love to get it back in the corridor, the Saints. They're really good at that. Gresham did well. Needs a bit of an escort. Got the Shepherd. Decides to go over the top and go it alone. And just a long stride was his kicking stride and couldn't get the depth in it.
Enjoying this, aren't you? I mean, there's been a few mistakes, but they're having a crack, aren't they? And Alan Richardson talked, didn't he, about last night's game and what he wanted to have St.Kilda style of play, and we are seeing it from, well, both teams so far. It's entertaining. 6 goals in the early stages. Armitage, he's had a good month. Stephen playing well with a lot of the ball early and a boundary throw in.
I think the key so far, Bruce, is simplicity is the essence of design. These sides aren't skilled enough to muck around with the ball. Just get it forward as quickly as you can and as directly.
How many people here at BT? Or 29?
I'd be 30 here now, Bruce, I reckon. Just over 30, actually.
Noons, it'll give good to Rice, to Steele, back to Webster, and then Webster hugging the line. It's okay.
Stay out, Mark.
Armitage.
Yep.
Okay.
The Armitage kick in front of Marshall gives him an opportunity to do that, to run and jump at the footy. Gee, that was a perfect kick for him.
It was a perfect kick, BT. You're right. They just created a little pocket of space, and instead of sitting it on Marshall's head and forcing him to prop under it, and Jones gets a good run, just allowed him to run into it, use his reach, and
now he knows
Jones no chance.
He knows this kick as well. He had one from a similar position. He knows that inside left goalpost is the spot to start this footy. Looking for his second in the quarter. That's going to hold its line. No, you've got to start at left goalpost inside.
And if you can let Marshall, who's 201 centimetres, run, jump at the ball, and take the ball at his highest point, not a lot of defenders are going to get a hand on that. It's a long way up there.
Centimetres.
Holding, Charlie Curnow.
It's about 6'7" in the old line, and that's a big unit, isn't it? He's been impressive. He's had 3 shots on goal so far, so he's done his bit. Dangerous kick, great mark. I mean, Cripps has been outstanding, and his kick forward, not great, that one. Geary just went beyond it. Tackle was very good from Curnow. Ball squeezes out to Rice, and then Savage spreads it. Stephen is so hard to get down. That was a clever little move by him, and then well protected, I think, by Hickey to Webster. It's been outstanding, Webster, this season. To Carlisle. And then Carlisle's kick's poor, but missed by the light. We've been saying so good in Fisher, and still was clever. Gresham again with some run and carry. That time doesn't go for the goal free kick.
Holding. St.Kilda.
She said. It's not a big grabber on me. I'm going to shrug him off. Look, he's on my arm, you fucking hell.
So Daisy unhappy, eh? It's not a fresh Daisy, that one, but...
he did. That's the old forwards move.
Loney to have a shot.
I think a bit of playing for it there.
15 gone.
Should have been play on. Daisy showing his frustration.
So Loney back in the team. He's played 9 VFL games this year. He's found it hard to keep a regular spot. That'll help. The goals keep on coming in the opening term.
it was unfortunate for the Blues because they'd moved the ball quite well, and Fisher then with trying to chop the ball off from Carlisle, they created a turnover potentially, but it slipped straight through the hands, and then it was just a wide open field. And I'm with you, Doug. I don't think there was a free kick there at all, but it was an open forward line, and Saints make the most of it.
There's no doubt about what Dale Thomas said, and that is that Loney instigated the contact and held on to Thomas in the end.
Yeah, that's not a free kick.
No.
If anything, it's to Thomas.
As a result of the last contest, we've now got this free kick.
This is where he's got to make sure he reins it in. He's a senior player now, Daisy Thomas. One went against him. Got to control yourself. Get back to playing good footy.
Just here, where you are is great.
Loney looks a little confused about whether he can get the journey from there, and sprays it wide and low and off hands. Armitage snap at goal under enormous pressure, and that hit the very back of the post. There's the free paid out of the centre square. So you're right, Ling, he's just got to get hold of himself and reel it back in a little.
Because he can argue all he likes about flopping. If you pull the jumper like that and the umpire sees it, he's going to pay a free kick.
Well done by Paulson, but the handball not great. Shaw, that one ricochets off Marshall. Down low, Phillips. First time I think we've called his name. Probably started on the interchange. Sinclair going back, dangerous ball. Curnow terrific in the contest. Gets to Garlett, good move there. Now, they've got all the numbers, the Saints here. Pickett read it okay, but Savage was up for it. He was terrific. And then Sinclair with a nice kick out wide. Good contest still there against Kennedy. Good match up that. Couple of ex-teammates together. Ball not quite out. Kennedy sort of gets it out. Carlton half had it, then didn't quite. Hands and knees for McKenzie. Hard going there, real slog. What's going to happen? A ball up.
Unfortunately, that kick going inside 50 isn't going to Charlie Curnow now because he's in the ruck. And Cruz has been off since early on in this quarter. And it's love when they finally break the game open a little bit and get an inside 50 for Curnow to be the man who's on the end of it.
Murphy. The handball came out in the Phillips direction. Second touch for him. Moons trying to paddle it forward. Got a little piece of it. Mavwella couldn't keep it going forward. Now Simpson. Blues defence working overtime under pressure. Good relieving kick by Simpson to Fisher. Now to Shaw. Funny little dabby kick back inside there. Made it real difficult for Kennedy. Richo.
Yeah, Luke Dunstan is back on the bench. He's been given the all clear, but he won't be able to come back on till after quarter time because of the 20-minute concussion rule. Also, Matthew Cruiser from Carlton. He's been down in the rooms for a while. And we do know one thing, that the Carlton medical staff have summoned the emergency physician here at Etihad Stadium to come down and assess Matthew Cruiser. So we'll try and get an update on that at quarter time.
That is interesting.
Thanks, Matthew. Yeah, that's a worry.
1:21 remaining in the quarter. St Kilda by 10. Free-flowing footy, a few goals being scored. Let's hope that no coach implements the defensive stop the scoring. There are the medicos chatting. Kick inside, Silvani on a smart lead.
And once again, been talking about him a lot. I do like him, Lingy, but see there, Curnow doesn't go back and just kick over the man on the mark. Plays on straight away, gets the ball in quickly, and he gets Silvani by himself. It's what all forwards want, quick ball movement.
May have been meant for Garlett, but they're both in the vicinity, and Jack really leaning back on that and spraying it heavily right.
Had an up and down season, hasn't he? Struggled for a lot of the year. Bounced back with a couple of goals in Sydney. So kick and a half in it. Ball, I don't think it's been touched. It has been now, but it is out. So a Carlton kick, so I'm sure Petrevski-Seton was onto all that, but Murphy back, sloppy handball, okay to Curnow, back to Simpson, then Simpson's kick looked neat off the boot, but Carlisle cut it off. Garnett was a fly, but nothing happened. Good kick wide to Loney. And then Loney trying to get it on as quickly as possible, does to Billings.
Now, little handball there to Sinclair. His handball was intercepted in there by Shaw. Thomas, clean pickup required. Great handball. Garlett, little right foot inside out. Just before the siren. Minor score. 8-point lead here. Quarter time. About 33,000 in the house on Friday the 13th. St Kilda at quarter time by 8 points.
Been pretty good. But St Kilda's pressures just created those couple of extra turnovers and 9 shots at goal to 6 as they shaded them a little bit, but pretty entertaining first quarter, really.
And can they keep Cruiser long enough on the forward line without Curnow?
Yeah, well, he's
down to you, Matthew.
Starting forward now.
Right, here we go.
Richo?
Hey, Armo, what was the message from Richo at quarter time?
Yeah, reasonable start. We did what we had to do. Our pressure in contest was really good. Inside 50s, I think we're up. So we probably just gave them 3 easy goals on the back of our turnovers, probably biting off a bit more than we could chew with the Jakey Carla one, for instance. So keep our pressure in that up and our defence, and then our scores will come off the back of that.
Thanks, mate.
As Dunstan was assessed for concussion in the first quarter, back in action here, all clear to go with a nicely weighted sideways kick. And now Mackenzie. Beautiful ball forward to Marshall. Rowan Marshall told to go as he ran a metre or so off the mark, and now was all at sea about what he should do. Rowe attacking the footy, got the handball back from Dow and goes very wide to the left foot of Simpson. He tries to go down the line, but in doing so, bit off a little too much.
Dale, come back! Dale!
Savage. A lot of footy at Hawthorn in a glorious time for them. He just couldn't quite nail the September stuff with him, and he's been good at the Saints. Veteran now, kicks to about 25 metres, high fly. Membry came in from the side to push it on, and St Kilda get a stoppage. Right forward pocket.
Okay.
Had the best of the opening term, but Carlton did counter-punch pretty well, as David Armitage spoke to Matthew Richardson about a moment ago. Mackay doing a lot of the ruck work here. It's pretty good in that opening term. Took a couple of marks around the ground. That one a shallow throw in. Marshall probably got there first. Billings went without it. Lamb was involved for a bit. That one not coming out. Cripps.
And I like the fact that they've got Mackay as the ruck and Curnow playing as the forward. It's a better combination, I reckon. However, Mackay's going to need some help. He won't be able to run out the entire game as a ruckman, I wouldn't have thought, but Curnow will maybe have to have little bursts in there, given Matty Cruiser.
Is there anyone else, Lingy, to look at?
Is Rowe a possibility or not?
Possibly, yeah. But it's all going to depend what those St Kilda forwards are doing. And if they're getting away from Carlton a little bit, Rowe will be needed down there.
Mackay in the end got a hand to it. It's nicely done. Jones funneling the ball dangerously to Rowe and arriving late. And thank goodness was Dow. Flicks it out to O'Brien. Handball back to Dow. He's able to go. He took on Loney and got away. The kick was dropped there by Kennedy. Fisher spun out quite brilliantly. And out of bounds on the wing, not out on the full.
That is just the tiniest little and slightly scrappy glimpse at the future of the Carlton midfield to support Paddy Cripps. Dow, O'Brien and Zach Fisher all linking up. Didn't work out perfectly, but tiny glimpse of the future.
Hickey, Membry, Weller, back to Membry. Membry high ball, good position here. Gee, got taken a little high. Was that Webster there, or was it Phillips?
High! Advantage!
Got the second one. Geary able to stroll in here, and he misses right as well.
I think the frustrating thing for Brendan Bolton in that first quarter was just a couple of basic fundamental errors. I mean, they're errors not under pressure. And that's what would be frustrating for the coach, because there's nothing you can do about those.
Bring it in now, please.
So Lamb asked to go and does, and he's just trying to get as far as he can away. Gilbert the fly, but Curnow read it best. Down that line, Savage having a big night. Back he goes. Breaking the tackle, Weller. A little too easily, and then Weller with a long probing kick to Gresham. Courage, though.
Right out, play on, let it go.
And you'd expect that from Simpson.
Play on.
Wants to use Fisher's run to Thomas. Just thinking about Daisy, guys. You think about him against St.Kilda in those 2 grand finals, as that little nothing carries on. I mean, he was at the height of his powers. I mean, he had 2 magnificent grand finals against the Saints, didn't he? In fact, this is a little silly stuff, isn't it?
Handball, you.
So it continues to go on. And that's just, yeah. Cripps, good mark.
Push out wide, please, Sharon, play
It's been wonderful, Cripps.
Cripps now. More centering focus here to Curnow. Knocked away from Silvani, who went with the hands rather than the body. Geary. Steele. Here's Jack Stephen. Thomas.
Chop of the arms.
Chop of the arm, said the umpire. He hasn't had a good run tonight, Dale Thomas, or he thinks he hasn't anyway. Might be something to do with the haircut, I'm not sure. Jack Stephen, high footy, top of the square. Saints lining up, Membry. He'll line up for his second.
Let it go. Let it go. Thank you.
Basically directly in front, only 12 or 13 metres out here. Just timed it better than anyone else. He didn't really jump high for it.
Jones mistimed it.
Yep.
Let go now. Let go now. Thank you.
Probably surprised Membry that it got through the Jones fist. Certainty must be made of this. He's kicked 1 tonight, Membry. And no problems, gets his second. St. Kilda continue in the second quarter.
Yeah, Jones had to get away because Rowe got stuck with Marshall. He couldn't get off the ground, Rowe, and Jones was the one that had to fist it clear.
That's where you rely on each other down back so much. As your run might get slightly blocked, you might get tangled up, but good defensive units as a back 6. There's always an extra person coming in to help.
He's a solid player, Membry, now, isn't he?
Well, Jaron, we've got Richo here talking to the boys as they come off. You just came off and got on the phone up to the box. What are you talking about there?
Oh, it's just about organisation, man. I'm in the back pocket, end up in the forward pocket for us. So just trying to organise so I'm not all the way back there and having to run back here and defend. So a bit of communication, something we've got to work on consistently, but I think we're in the game here. We're doing a pretty good job.
Thanks, Jaron.
That was better by Jones after Steele's kick forward. Marchbank down low. Had heart problems, didn't he, Marchbank, last weekend? I think the cardiologist had to pass him to play tonight. So it's, oh, that's a very, very dangerous kick, ball bouncing away. Didn't quite get to Daisy, and Sinclair's going to make them pay. Oh, the Blues, eh? And suddenly they've jumped out to a very healthy lead.
And once again, just a poor decision. Poor decision, poor skills, cost them another goal. So that's got nothing to do with game plan. It's got nothing to do with, you know, the way they set up structure, all of those things that we talk about.
So it's the bloke kicking or the bloke calling for it? Who's making the error?
It's always the bloke with the ball in his hand. It's his decision to make. So poor decision.
Poor decision led to the goal here for the Saints. Just got to be a bit careful there, Jed Lamb. Leave those fingers right away from any openings in the face at all. I don't like seeing any of that. I'm not saying it happened then, but just got to cut that sort of nonsense out. You don't want to be known as an eye gouger or anything like that.
Simpson to Fisher. Webster lost track of it, was able to recover it. Geary deliberately going low. Thomas here.
Thanks,
and just that kick there. Just keep it simple, Carlton, with the kicking.
Charlie,
Go a little straighter, go a little more
don't
forward rather than sideways.
Yep.
Keep it simple. Grow into something more technical as you go along. Kennedy.
Oh, well, thanks, Jess.
There's a lot of scuffle, a lot of niggle in this game. I'm sure it points back to the game from round 8 last year.
Thank you. Yep.
bit of feeling, which is always good for the overall vibe of the attack on the footy.
Thanks, Tom, Charlie.
Quiet, 33, 34,000 here at the moment. Armitage, Noons. Noons went in, G went low, and Charlie Curnow probably a little unlucky not to get the free out of there. Cripps, look at him dance around. Curnow tried to step Geary there and got nailed and got one on the arm as well. Looks a little sore, Charlie Curnow, but he's tough. And now Stephen.
Loves to run and carry, gave it to Steele, to Loney, and then...
Holding, St.Kilda.
So Steele's free kick back here.
Where Jack Stevens is.
Here. Thank you.
So Stephen quickly off and then getting a loose one forward, and Hickey.
Nice mark by Hickey, good movement by the Saints. It doesn't matter now that Hickey's got the ball inside 50 with the mark, but when Steele was held onto after he gave the hand pass, that should be 50 metres as well. We saw one last week in the game, Collingwood against Essendon, where it was correctly paid. If you're held onto after you've given the handball and you're trying to get it back, it is an automatic 50-metre penalty. Doesn't matter now, Hickey's got the shot at goal, but one that is sometimes missed in the game.
Been pretty accurate from the set shot so far this year, Hickey, as he's pushed that one across. He's hit the post. So the Saints getting away here. They're 22 points to the better. A lot more scoring shots. Carlton, nothing much good happening for them so far in this second term. Can they resurrect that? And Simpson again hugging that line. That one staying in. Ball getting towards the back. Fisher puts the tackle on, wraps it up, and it'll be a stoppage.
I love it.
Noons there. Worse for wear.
Got one in the head, one in the arm. Doesn't know which part to hold. Noons. At the back, Ed Curnow. Have a look at the Saints' numbers here. 3 on 2. Should win it. Rice went without it. Garlett trying to find a way through. Little handball initially came from McKenzie and put Noons under immediate pressure.
Straight up, please. Straight up. Thank you.
Right in front of the interchange bench, this little fracas taking place. Umpire gets it moving quickly. Curnow, well done. Silvani almost came off his boot there. I thought it was out of bounds on the full. Looked to be, but I think, in fairness to the boundary umpire, he just couldn't see. There were too many around him. A lot of space, players holding their position at either end of the ground here at the moment. Hickey knocked down in the path of Sinclair. Murphy first to arrive. Beautifully weighted handball to Lamb. Nice kick by Lamb. Little low. Mackay goes back and get it. What about this for the big fella? How's that? Gee, that was magnificent from Mackay. Goal or no goal?
What about the speed?
The movement. Just a gazelle.
That seriously ran straight past Carlisle. That goes to show you what sort of future this kid could have.
I just want to know why he's not playing as often.
I don't know. I agree with you, BT. I'm not sure why he's been out of this team.
I know they have been very cautious about how young he is, BT. He only qualified for the draft by a couple of days, so he nearly nominated the following year.
Richo, down to you.
Yeah, Sam, you got a big job on Curnow tonight. What's in your thought process playing on him?
Yeah, he's got a really good leap and mark. So my goal is just to probably get in his way a bit and try and interrupt his leap and yeah, bring the ball to ground.
Do you try and keep him in front? Is that something you're playing?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a player that likes to get around behind you and use his body. So yeah, my goal is to keep him in front.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
It's easy.
Sam Gilbert there with Matthew Richardson. Great access, Richardson. Loney after the Saints probably had a better chance of this. Marshall took a while and he's pushed it pretty wide. Loney with a goal in the opening term, he would just love to keep hitting the scoreboard tonight.
15 gone.
Just the 5 games so far this season. His last 4 have been in the VFL, and that one not going to come back. So a little inaccurate St Kilda here, but they're in control. This was just stunning. This took all our... We all looked at each other, didn't we, and said, wow, look at this.
Very nearly finished it.
For his size, that is serious speed.
That would have brought out a wow-wee from you, BT, all right.
In my opinion, if you're good enough, you're good enough. Now, Simpson has stepped out of the square here. Let's listen in.
Where's my foot there? Nah, clearly on the line, mate.
Have the toes on the line, no doubt about that. If that is out, then that's out.
I think we see a lot on the line.
Who's up? Here we go, guys.
Certainly can't blame lack of experience there, Duck.
No. 301 tonight.
Yep. There's Jack Stephen trying to yank it out of there.
That's his eyesight's failing.
Straight back. Who's up? Here it is.
When you get older, you don't need the specs.
Yeah, that's right. Sinclair was in there. Stephen. Marchbank. Murphy. Bottom of the pack, Mackenzie. Now a little opportunity in there for Loney. Has another go, Sinclair. Got the handball to Clark. Hunter Clark under immediate pressure there. Somehow the Blues get out of jail, but got the numbers here, the Saints again. Geary was looking wide on that occasion for Rice. Couldn't get it to him. Went back, had another go. Silvani in trouble. Ran out of one tackle and then ran straight into another.
Holding the ball. Holding the ball.
Battled hard there, the Blues. They just couldn't get that clean takeaway, could they, to break it open. So Hickey did the tackling there to Dunstan. Then Dunstan's kick didn't look great off the boot. Kennedy cut it off. Maybe Sabachi. Give it to Mackay, I reckon. But goes to Paulson, and he's just beautifully wrapped up and tackled and gone.
What a tackle.
If I was Mackay, I reckon I would have tapped it on the arm and just said, go.
They're nailing their tackles tonight, the Saints. Really aggressive in that facet of the game.
Dunstan, low kick. Well done there by Dow. I think it was a Marchbank it was. And then the tackle coming in from Lamb on Loney, the 2-13s on Friday the 13th. Here's that tackle you're talking about, Duck.
Yeah, great tackle. And even the good sides, Liggy, don't often get away with forward handballs. The pressure is just too great when sides are on.
Something about that number 7 at St Kilda, the way it tackles.
The great Lenny Hayes.
Yeah.
Lenny certainly could nail a huge tackle. And Duck, you're right, that extra handball's getting Carlton in trouble. 63 kicks, 70 handballs, so less than 1-to-1 the ratio.
Oh, on the run, Billings! 3 in a row in the second quarter for the Saints. .8-point advantage on the fly, down his throat, on his favoured left side. Couldn't have been presented any better.
Did it well. Cruz has been a massive
well, just huge
injury, isn't it?
And Charlie Curnow's had to go into the ruck.
And
so.
Hickey's been able to win taps.
Yeah. And
things have changed.
Just getting repeat inside 50s now, the Saints.
A lot of numbers here around this stoppage, but when you get nice ruck work like that and movement, Billings says thank you very much. Well constructed. Lucky little touch perhaps, but movement certainly means a lot. Liam Jones has now moved into the ruck for the Blues, and
Carlton.
He's going to get a free kick.
Players stop. Sorry, Ed. This is straight arm. It is a straight arm. Trust me, it's a straight arm.
I prefer Jones.
Yeah, thanks,
in there
Sam.
than Charlie Curnow.
And he can lead. And
yes.
he's less valuable.
I didn't say that, Bruce, you did.
Thanks.
Sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I didn't mean it. You sort of know
Just
what...
push out now, please.
Did I say that, man?
I knew what you meant.
So Jones kicks to, you know who, Duck.
Mr. Valuable.
That's right. Yeah, come back, please. You're off your line, mate. You're well off your line.
You're right, Duck. He loves to play on Charlie Curnow, doesn't he?
Every time.
And quickly gives it off to Fisher, who just takes them on and goes. Don't you love that? Well, good on Liam Jones. He's become more valuable by the second. Great kick to Curnow. Curnow doing exactly what you've been talking about, Wayne. And that little bloke that kicked the goal, well, I like him.
Well, just another great example from Curnow. Like, he got back quick, OK, come back over your mark, and then, but he played on anyway. Yep. Just wants to move the ball quickly all the time, and I love that about his game.
And what about Fisher taking them on?
Yep. And this is a great kick from Jones, and then solid mark, as you can see there, from Curnow, and wants to play it all the time, and that's your man, Fisher.
Yeah.
Bruce, that's just a ripping goal, taking the game on, natural talent.
Number 25, Jeslenko, Favola, Fisher, Jones. Hasn't got the best of ring to it, but it's sort of number 25, you know what I mean. Gilbert, Charlie Curnow having another crack.
Oh, well done by Curnow there.
Second effort.
Yeah, and that's what you want too. It's not always going to be perfect lace out where you can use your marking ability. You've got to fight, scrap, create a stoppage. Did it well there.
Jones, neat little palm down. His kick was smothered, handball smart. Dunstan missed the Clark opportunity there. He goes back to make amends, and they need to go wide here. Weller got it and gave it all in one motion. The Loney kick sets up an opportunity here with the left foot of Armitage. Brings it back inside. Membry should have closed the Dukes on it. Forgot to shut them up. Still got the numbers. Little handball came from Sinclair. Snap it goal.
All clear.
And the Saints off Dunstan. Just the minor score. And they've got the bad memory again here.
Giro had given up, hadn't he, Sam, there? He was just sort of thinking he'd be standing the mark, didn't he?
Yeah, almost like he was waiting for contact.
Yeah.
Emery. It was an easy one.
So Thomas with a long ball, asked a bit of Silvani. Good contest there by Silvani. Shaw to O'Brien, back to Silvani, went back to O'Brien, to Lamb, and then Lamb forced to go round the body and defensively kick down the line. Cripps involved. Quite a term here. He's just magnificent in the opening term. Sinclair, Armitage riding that boundary cleverly enough. Gee, that's a good take by Billings. Gets it back in board to Rice, and then he tries to lace it out. Simpson gets across, and then Rowe was sort of fishing for it and couldn't quite get it. And a boundary throw in. Classy stuff, that, isn't it? Good control.
Liam. And yeah, thanks, Tim. Liam and Tim. Liam, Tim.
Umpire identifying the ruckman. Tim Membry, Liam Jones. Jones just paddled in front of Cripps. Cripps did well to get it out of there. Shaw was tackled as he went to kick the footy. Kept alive by Armitage. High footy. No mark would be paid here, I wouldn't have thought. Lamb goes in, was immediately tackled, one from front and one from behind.
Thanks, Jed. Thanks, Jed.
23-point lead, St Kilda. 3 goals to 1 here in the second quarter.
Had control. One spectacular goal from the Blues, and then again, same deal, isn't it? Still that time.
Thanks, guys. Out we come, please. Out we come, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Would drive the Carlton coaching bench mad, wouldn't it?
Well, that's 2 in this quarter from goals almost directly in front. Have a look at the way they set up. Yeah, that's a real coach coach killer.
This brings a little smile to my face. Duck, a tagger, no one going anywhere near him. You can find a way to kick a goal and then turns around and gives it to his opponent. Steele's had 13 disposals, kicked a goal. Cripps, 14 disposals, kicked a goal. So he's fighting it out.
I like the way he left the scene and left all the damage still carrying on. It was good from Jack Steele. Here they go again. Savage, we know, is a good, long, controlled kick. Out in front here, Billings will want to turn to the left. He does now, and they force him back on the right, but that's pretty damn good as well. Although Simpson minding the slot. Immediately plays on. Thomas looks up the middle, not much there, so just pokes at the footy to Murphy. Murphy too looks up the middle. Cripps demanding it, didn't get it, and the bailout kick wide. And now they're sort of forced to go wide because St Kilda have got the numbers back in the corridor, and there's only one decision here.
That's the one I'd like to see Daisy Thomas just play on. Just move it quickly.
Yeah, make something happen. Make people run in front of you, Duck. They'll move if they're seeing you move. Good tackle, Rice.
And this is what happens because of slow ball movement down the line.
Against Paddy, he said.
Against Paddy Dow. He was trying to get to the interchange bench and ran into the
protected area.
There you have it.
So Rice with a chance here to kick his first goal in footy. There's a 50.
Now, he changed direction. All the umpires want to see you do in that situation is change direction to show that you're trying to get out of the area.
Well, I think the argument is you have to use the most direct route out of the area, BT, on that one. And Dow changed direction a little bit, but sort of kept coming into the area.
No, I don't agree.
That was an obvious one for me.
So his father over 100 games for both clubs and a premiership player for the Blues, and hasn't quite been able to get the late inclusion for Seb Ross. Paddy Down, high draft pick for the Blues. Been good. He's number 3 draft pick, and he's played all but 1 game so far this season.
Please wait. Play on, you.
Lamb. Curnow at the back.
Mark, Harry Mackay.
So Mackay marks it, and he gives it to Curnow because he thinks he's marked it, and Harry gives it back, and Charlie, and in the end, no one knows who wants it. Now Harry goes short and finds Marchbank. Wide, keep going a little more direct. Lamb, and let's see if St Kilda can stop them and force them and corral them, and now force the kick down the line, which they do, and gee.
Leave it on, play on.
It's got to be faster if you're going to try and get it out that fat side of the ground. High ball by Rowe, good mark taken in front by Geary, strong mark. Immediately on here, Phillips. And the Saints, they look good, they move the ball quickly. I think it was Gresham that got it out. And now Jack Stephen went a little early, Hickey. Stephen tries to turn Garland around, short little ball. Was it the required journey? Umpire said yes. Armitage back to Phillips. Phillips, what sort of kick was that? And did he mean it to Hickey? I don't think so. The Hickey kick's an absolute ripper, though. Billings almost.
Marchbank got it from Murphy. Kennedy did pretty well. Geary's tackle was terrific, but he's able to keep the hips up and get that one away. Now, Ken Pickett put the pressure on Webster. No, Webster up for it, then belts the ball wide. Gee, Rice will want a good lead on Mackay here, I reckon. He nearly got to him, not quite, gave him a little shove. Still back to Rice, and then Rice, dinky little kick, a good one. Billings protects it, gets a free kick. Starting to build Billings. So half forward, St Kilda got a fair bit of control of this at the moment.
Play on.
Billings told to go. Players converge. Off hands. Armitage had a crack on his non-preferred side. There's Shaw. Handball now to O'Brien. O'Brien runs, needs to get it out of here. Need to get it past halfway, at least here, the Blues. Webster does really well. Almost as if the halfway line was a win for the Blues, and he didn't want to let them. What about that? That's certainly not deliberate. Oh,
if
boy.
it is, it's outstanding.
Becky thought, my luck's changing.
Funny stuff, eh? Cripps. Still Cripps. Took a long run, but it was okay in the end. Got it to Garland, back to Fisher. Oh, no, just overplayed it. And,
I don't mind that. That's taking the game on. That's exactly what you want to see him doing. Kicked the goal before by doing it.
And gets it back, Duck, and gets it back to Cripps. And then Cripps tucks it under the arm. That's a good kick. And Curnow can have a shot. So, second efforts were good.
Yeah, absolutely. He's having some sort of game. As we just said, caught there, but taking the game on, and that's all you want from these kids. That's all we wanted from Daisy.
And then Curnow quickly, and kicks the goal. Gee, you've got to keep your eye on Charlie, don't you? He's fast.
Whenever he gets possession, we should stop talking because we know that he's going to play on. That's a penetrating kick. Often talk about that weapon as a key forward to be able to kick from outside 50.
Yeah.
It just adds, it can add 20 goals a year to your CV, and that's a great...
Ask Buddy about that.
Yeah, exactly right.
And probably Tex.
Field kicking has been exceptional.
Duck, was that the first time you'd met him tonight, Curnow?
Yes.
And what we were sorry, what about Cripps' effort?
I'm just going to jump in with the Telstra Tracker heat map here. Fantastic by Cripps. Huge game, 11 contested possessions all across the ground and working nicely with Charlie Curnow.
Yeah, very natural, very shy, but a quiet confidence about himself.
Boy, you were...
Love the interview, Wayne. It was just great stuff.
It was good. He was very shy, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, he seems
modest,
like a ripping kid.
Yeah. He was a little intimidated that the king was coming his way. The Saints, Hickey, outmanoeuvring Silvani. Armitage again on his favoured left side. Didn't quite centre it enough to the advantage of Marshall then. He put it on the Jones advantage side, and Jones did the rest.
Get a bit of everything with Jones, don't you? He's can do the spectacular. He's a good competitor. Curno's free.
Like I said, if you looked at Jones's highlights tape, you'd say, wow, he's one of the best players in the comp, but he's got a bloopers tape that matches it.
Marchbank to Petrevski-Seton, out to Silvani, back inboard, and Curno coming across. Now Shaw has to fetch it. He does. Can he keep it in? He doesn't, but it'll be a ball in.
Let's have a look at Charlie Curno's heat map. Now we know that he spent a bit of time in the ruck today, Lingy, but predominantly in and around the centre of the ground. There you can see upward of centre, but a lot around centre half forward. He's got a great tank, and that's why he will be a great player.
High praise for a young star. Hickey. Perhaps carried forward there in the tackle, O'Brien, but nothing forthcoming. And I tell you, Geary's been very good tonight. Cripps. The little one comes back in the O'Brien direction. Now O'Brien wide. Here's Curnow. He was held around the neck there, and Gilbert realised he got one away with it.
No free kick paid there. Now, this is the last vision we've got of Matty Cruiser, the last contest that he was involved in. This is about 3 minutes into the game. And he spent the rest of the time on the bench. I know it doesn't look much there. We can't tell what's wrong with Big Matty Cruiser, but Tommy Brown will have all the latest at halftime. He's going to chat with the footy boss for Carlton, Andy McKay.
Could pick up Lingy. So Murphy slung down. Dow's little kick forward. Rice been okay, Rice. And then Savage towards the line. Curnow tried to keep it in. Just need to pitch a goal here, Carlton, don't they? But they've been outplayed. They've sort of half kept in it, haven't they, with a couple of bits of brilliance. Cripps, Curnow, Fisher. Just some real magic from those guys have kept them in the game on the scoreboard. A late goal here would be really big for them inside that forward 50, but Rice's kick, getting it out. Solid by Thomas now.
Play on.
Daisy has to go, and then he goes with a long one. Where is Curnow? He's sort of underneath it. Ball not quite there. Gilbert did really well. Handball to Hickey. Not sure if the ruckman should have taken it. Back to McKenzie. Webster's little squeeze. Jones, go on, kick a goal. He misses. You know, halfway through it was in the highlights tape, and at the end it was part of the bloopers. He's just that sort of guy, Doug.
And good pressure from the Carlton forwards there, just to apply pressure with St Kilda coming out to get the turnover.
Just need a little bit of leadership here, the Saints, to control the footy and not get tempted to go quick in the dying 45 seconds of the half when they're holding a lead. Marshall. Now they can probably go. Sinclair, not sure which way to go. Bundles out back, so there'll be no further score to the scoreboard here in this half. A 4-goal quarter for the Saints, 2 for the Blues. Jack Stevens had 16, Cripps has had 17 for the Blues. And St Kilda here at halftime lead by 23. They did get it out to 29. Let's get down to Richo.
Well, Richo, you'd be pretty pleased with that first half.
Yeah, certainly that quarter there, I felt like we had control. They got a couple of goals, I reckon, against the flow a little bit, but, you know, they were good enough to take their opportunities, but by and large, it's been pretty positive.
Every team wants forward pressure, and I reckon you've got that tonight.
Yeah, I think our pressure's been really good. I'm not sure of the numbers. You don't quite get them when you're on the bench, Richo, but, no, that's been pretty good.
Couple of matchups, Steele on Cripps. He's had plenty of it. Do you keep going with Steele because the scoreboard looks all right?
Yeah, no, at this stage we will. You're right. Cripps is an outstanding player, and he still had an influence on the game, but we think Steely's been reasonable.
Gilbert on Curnow?
I think he's done a good job, Gilbo. Yeah, he's been isolated a little bit too much for our liking, but no, we think Gilbo's been good in the contest.
Thanks very much for the access down there, and we'll see you in the third quarter. Thanks, Richo.
You're watching.
Shortness of breath. They won't take any risks with him as we head back to Etihad Stadium.
It's over the Blues.
Umpire Dalglish to get it underway here. Hickey, Fisher. Knock on. Petrevski-Seton, Thomas, flashy run. The give and go back from Murphy. Good, positive start from the Blues. If they can hold on here, and they do, through Pickett. Good movement of the footy. Quick, brisk, simple. Pickett thinks he's a little too far out. Not considering the goal, so he goes high, looking for a runner and a jumper. And none forthcoming.
Clear. Charlie, out now. Charlie, out, please.
We highlighted in the first half the good and not so good of Dale Thomas. Just gave away a couple of free kicks and got a little bit grumpy, but his good has been very good. He's run off half-back. Oh, they're going to get another chance here. Maybe the Blues. No, coughed it up.
Kennedy just couldn't stick it, and then Billings close to the line. Now, the other...
The little half chances that the Blues aren't taking at the moment, aren't they? That drop mark by Kennedy.
Simpson's kick inside. Geary been terrific. We've said that a few times. Phillips's handball, a little error. O'Brien was a throw. Just going back to Ewing, the other thing about Daisy a moment ago, just his run over the ground, he actually looked quite quick, didn't he?
Yeah, covering the ground well, and we always highlight how important some run-off half-back is to break open a pretty congested game, and he's had the 16 disposals, 100% kick disposal efficiency, so some positives there.
Nunes from Membry, and then to Armitage, and look, Jack Stephen, who started all this at half-back. He's a great running midfielder, and that's a big fly, no mark by Weller in the forward pocket. So good transition by the Saints.
Weller wondering why he didn't get the free kick there. That's not something that I'm wondering. So Marshall and Jones. Marshall did well, trying to work it in the path of Weller. Picked up by Billings. Left foot snap, got it. Got two Billings. One in the second, one in the third. And the St Kilda side out to 28 points.
And once again, another goal from a stoppage for the Saints.
Yeah, how many's that?
Yeah, at least 3.
Yeah.
Yep. It's been a real concern for the Blues. Real dangerous area of the ground for them.
Another forward stoppage goal here. That's 3 for St Kilda. Just too much space. I mean, that's a brilliant goal from Jack Billings. But Carlton have got to fix up that area. You would average about 1 goal against from forward 50 stoppages. So 3 already tonight. Too many.
So Gresham has been in great goal-kicking form this year. He's the one that hasn't quite hit the scoreboard. Silvani, Lamb, Billings' career high against the Blues with 5. So up to a couple so far and looking dangerous. Thomas gone back to O'Brien, back to Lamb, back to Silvani, back to Lamb. It hasn't been confident going, but heard the call. Cripps couldn't get into it, still held him up.
High contact.
And Geary gets a free kick.
High contact. He's got him high.
So the two skippers together there, Geary, Murphy, Geary hugging it down towards the pocket. Armitage was the target. Tackle by Marshall, pretty good, and a stoppage again. So this is where Carlton have had problems with stoppages this far from home.
Let's see if they fix it up.
St Kilda will be on the move, because they already know it's a weakness.
Stephen.
Yeah, Stephen and Weller both on the move, as you called, Duck. The one in there, Garlett, stuck his nose in, won the footy. Now he's got to get rid of it. Gave it straight up here to Billings. Nunes goes into the open goal. So once again, the stoppage was the problem. Nunes has a couple. Game high margin. St Kilda by 34.
As you take those stoppage goals out of it, and the Blues aren't, it's just basic errors in and around the stoppage, and then basic skill errors. Once again, just over handballing the ball in the back pocket, putting themselves under pressure with that long kick out of defence.
Is Cruiser something a part of that or not? No Cruiser?
Oh, without a doubt.
These stoppage goals, what are you thinking? The no Cruiser factor, is that a part of all this?
A little bit, because they know they can get so proactive here, but I think a lot of Carlton players just standing around a little bit reactive, whereas St Kilda, all of them are on the move.
That's the word, proactive. That's exactly what they can get.
So, we've blown them away a bit here, the Saints. Nunes with a couple of goals now, Billings with a couple of goals. Free kick to Carlton, so Cripps.
Just
just had a little fumble, gets it back to Murphy. Murphy caresses the kick. They're going to get the target. Not quite for Kennedy. And then that hot handball to Petrevski-Seton was good. And then Cripps with a long one. He's given it a hook to fall forward. Good work there by Pickett, actually. He just gave himself every chance against McKenzie, and he just couldn't make it stick. So McKenzie, Hickey the target, the big guy, and he takes a fine mark.
Yeah, he did.
He's actually marked the football quite well tonight.
Move it on. Play on.
The big fella. Hickey, 10th touch of the footy. McKenzie. Opening 2 goals in the 3rd quarter with the Saints.
Play on. Play on.
Geary careful. The way he exits defence. Good ball. Well up, able to run and jump. Phillips, nice flowing run, and the kick is really good as well. And Membry a little bit too far out to score for Tim Membry, I reckon. This would be a long memory. 55, he decides against it.
Oh, there, Jed.
Can you have a word to him, Doug, please?
Short ball to Billings. Billings sees something out of the corner of the eye. Hickey, but Mackay did well, immediately wanted to go. Now they need to keep going here. O'Brien, if they do keep going, they can open them up through the middle. A little shy, a little tentative. Dow, look at this. Just keep going. They're out everywhere. Opportunity. Ed Curnow.
He looks tired, doesn't he? And the ball bouncing away from him. Pretty good kick, I reckon, forward. Lovely mark. Taken by Charlie Curnow. Runs and goes and doesn't quite goal. But he's off so quickly. He's a beautiful mover, isn't he?
Got a couple off his brother tonight.
He has.
Hit him a couple of times.
Lingy, you've talked about it tonight. We did see a lot of the future. You know, Dow was involved, O'Brien earlier, Petrevski-Seton.
What about Mackay's mark on half?
Fantastic, Doug.
Yep.
He's been pretty impressive, hasn't he? We've seen little bits and pieces, haven't we? It's been like a cameo from the big guy.
Free kick going here. I think it'll go the way of Pickett.
It's a free kick. He ducked into that. You got him high.
McKenzie's saying he jumped into it, but you're allowed to go down and win the footy first, and I think he was still in the process of winning the footy.
That's just play. That's just play on that one.
You reckon that's play on?
Yeah.
Down over winning the footy, though. You've got to be crouched over to win the footy.
He's got to be able to come up.
30 of those a game, though. It's not high for mine.
Gee. Pickett comes in, nails the goal.
Gee, I'm glad Lingy and Duck aren't umpiring together in the 3 umpire system. They'd be changing the other bloke's decision every 5 minutes.
This is the beauty of our game, Bruce. It's so grey. And the Blues are wearing grey tonight.
Absolutely. Hey, don't worry. I've got no idea what's going on these days, but I still enjoy it.
I think, yeah, it's a 50-50, Lingy.
Don't you weaken, Duck. Don't you weaken. OK, is it a free kick or not, Lingy and Duck?
I think you're allowed to sort of hold the player up. He's over the footy. There's no forceful contact high.
But he doesn't take possession and then run forward
very
with it.
Soft.
He's
very
winning
soft.
the ball.
That is an obvious high free kick, Duck. I think you're losing your mind. Out of the middle they come. Little handball, Kennedy. Back inside to Kennedy again. Doing the work. I think it was Dow initially involved there.
As well, mate.
Slight overreaction, BT, to Duck's comment, but go on.
Well, thanks, Bruce.
Dunston's, it's 2-all. All we need is Richo to join us, and he's got to be quiet down on the bench, so he can't do that. Phillips, he's up in the box, I think, now. Well, he's got to be even quieter. Billings, long penetrating ball. Membry doing well. Rowe did well to bring it to the front and centre. Dunston was there. Got it off here to Marshall. Marshall's kick to the middle, and Petrevski-Seton last line of defence.
Neat looking kick to Mackay. Talked a bit about him. That dash in that second term will be long remembered. He measures the kick to centre wing. Real one-on-one there. McKenzie won it well. Good hands coming out from Webster. Savage loves to run and carry. Wants to deliver, hangs the boundary, and that's just a beautiful kick to Membry. It's great service.
That's what Savage has been able to do his whole career. He can kick the ball long with penetration, but he's accurate as well. That's a beautiful kick to Membry. It wasn't a heap of space, just that little pocket over the top, and needed to be perfect, and it was.
Let's see if he can nail this. He's had a good night. Dropped one mark that probably would have resulted in a goal, but he's kicked a couple. He's building a pretty solid season. His last 2 seasons have been very good from a goal-kicking point of view. That's a beauty. Gee, I thought it was home. Just the last little bit. Had a few posters, the Saints, tonight. Have a look. Oh!
He liked it. He was following it closely. He had a bit of an interest in it. Simpson, very close to that line again. Charlie Curnow. Shaw. Billings, the tackler.
St Kilda players read that was going to Charlie Curnow no matter what. About 3 Saints players just ran with it.
Thank you. Yep.
42-34 in the tackle department, St Kilda's way. Jones bundled out by Hickey.
St Kilda, advantage.
So now the advantage, and Steele, a driving footy. Membry's got out the back here. Rowe just lost a little bit of feel and touch on him.
Walk away, thank you.
And this...
Thanks a lot.
Matt Stevic lines him up. He's only 15 metres out directly in front. This really is a
15 gone.
Short memory. Here, opportunity. So in he comes for his 3rd goal, now? Bruce. And this, surely, he's got it.
All clear.
One in each quarter, BT. I'm keeping up with you, BT. Don't you worry. I'm listening to everything you tell me.
3 to Membry.
I tell you who I reckon it's a hard. I reckon Rowe's struggling. Just watching him tonight and a little bit like he's just not playing with any confidence.
Because he actually had decent position here on Membry initially. There, he probably shouldn't have been outmarked from that position. Membry fought to get it, but...
Let's go to you, Richo, up in the box.
Simon, you kicked 3 goals from 50 stoppages tonight. Whose responsibility is that? Is that the line coach or is it an overall stoppage coach?
Our forwards coach, obviously, Noel Wolf, but our stoppage coach and midfield coach, Simon McPhee, watches all the stoppages throughout with one of his assistants, so they look pretty closely at every stoppage, and our front line set up with the boys coming in, so it's a bit of a dual system, but the stoppage coach is in charge.
Thanks, mate.
Teddy Lowe up there.
I was going to say, BT, that's a terrific tackle by Nunes in the hands, my friend. Any chance you could go up there and call BT from the box?
Not a hope in hell, Bruce.
Whispering Brian, eh? So here's Carlisle in the heart of the centre square. So St Kilda on top here. Well done by Petrevski-Seton. Now he has to chase his good work. He'll probably run it over, and he does. And a boundary throw in. So little bits of magic from the Blues tonight, but not enough, and a lot of stoppage goals against them. And St Kilda, Carlton have got a long tail tonight. If you look at some of there's 4 or 5 players that have hardly touched it tonight, aren't there?
By the way, that was Simon Leflean, GM of footy at St Kilda.
Over half the players playing have had under 10 touches for the Blues.
Dunstall just trying to shovel the kick out to Membry. Marchbank snap, Weller misses. 35-point St Kilda lead here now. Midway through the 3rd. So the Blues have won just twice in the past 390 days. And it's looking less likely as every minute passes here as Gresham takes him on and Rowe says, no, you're not doing that to me. And the advantage is paid.
So Shaw gets it from O'Brien, and then Carlisle cuts it off. Gee, Gresham's copped a bit, hasn't he, from both Lamb and Rowe there. Lamb earlier, of course, and now Dunstan. Dunstan's got Stephen wide. Stephen, that's a really good mark.
Front on contact. Front on contact.
I thought he had enough of it too.
And the free kick was paid front on contact. Cripps tried to turn his head there. Made a fair effort of making sure he didn't give away a free kick, but the umpire saw it a different way. And Jack Stephen, right from the start of this game with his run and contested ball winning, just led the way for the Saints in what was looming as a bit of a danger game. He set the standard as he's done so often. 18 disposals, 6 of those contested. Hard running, 4 inside 50s. Quality footballer.
See if he can nail this one, Lingy. About 49, 48 metres out. Good kick. Good kick, good kick. And he's got his first St Kilda marching away. He's got a heck of a record. I mean, all those bests and fairest, he's a really high-quality player. You wouldn't call him a champion, but you'd call him a really top-class footballer, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I agree with Lingy. When he's dashed, when he's taking the game on, bouncing the footy, trying to run around players, not just giving it off, that's when he's at his absolute best. And he's had one of those nights tonight, right from the start, had a really positive attitude.
So Jack Stephen makes it 4 1/4 for St Kilda. Nice long kick by him. Inside 50s in recent time, all St Kilda's way. Beautiful bounce in the middle. Marshall with a clear knockdown at the feet of Steele on that occasion, and Jones making it hard for them to extract.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers. Rowan, and thank you. Thanks, Lon.
Jones again, almost to Cripps. Sinclair, Steele, Rice, Phillips. Neat little kick wide. So now they can go. Clark, longish but very wide footy, easily punched to the boundary line there by Marchbank.
Starting to get a bit worrying now for Carlton. Even the clearances was one positive in the first half.
Here's another stoppage, Lingy. This is a concern.
The Saints are getting on top in every area now, well and truly. And you're right, Duck, could be another one here.
So that one eluding all the ruckman. Quick kick away by Garlett, only as far as Carlisle. He bangs it back to about 15 metres. Marshall, Silvani at the back. Memory, well done. Phillips missing the lot in the end. Yeah, the Blues are playing it in their back half, aren't they? Nothing happening for them at the moment.
It's 41 inside 50s to 24.
Dangerous kick coming out by O'Brien. Whipped out to Stephen. Good tackle.
They were plus, sorry, BT, they were +5 in clearances, Carlton, in the first half, and Jack Stephen just making sure that one got over the boundary line, but now they're -3 in clearances, so it's completely swung around. Saints just doing what they like.
The reason the umpire didn't pay that one, I just reckon he couldn't see it. He had his back to him, Jack, and didn't know whether it bobbled out in the tackle or whether, because he definitely deliberately handballed it, didn't he? Yep. At the boundary. So I'm sure it would have been paid if they'd seen it. Shaw caught in the Clark tackle here. Let's have a look at this stoppage. Inside 50 stoppage again for St Kilda. Let's see who's on the move here. Jack Stephen on the move, and out the back was Armitage. He was going directly in a straight line to goal. Rowe at the bottom. Now that ball is held in there by Loney. Rowe had no hold of it. He just held it to Rowe.
So Jones again. Marshall taller, got it down. Murphy, good tackle by Marshall there. Second effort, terrific.
Jack Stephen just lining himself up at the back of this stoppage, Doug. I wonder if it's his turn to get on the bolt through. No.
Couldn't quite get through. Cripps got a bit of an Armitage, well done. Got it to Sinclair. They shove it forward. Clark spreads it. Phillips back to Clark, the two youngsters. Clark, interesting kick, tapped away there by Rowe. Gets back to Shaw. Shaw in his first game for the Blues. Poor kick. Straight to Rice. And then Rice gives it across to Webster. Here is Jack Stephen. Could he kick a second? Think so. I think so. He's having a really good night now. Hey, Richo, you're with Dylan Robertson. Be interested to hear what he's got to say, of course, on the comeback trial eventually.
Yeah, and Bruce, still, what's your role up here, mate? You'd rather be out there playing clearly, but what are you doing up in the box?
Well, not too much, to be honest. Just using this year as a bit of a learning year to obviously my passion for after footy is to get into a bit of coaching. So just help out where I can. I don't say too much up here, but just sort of take in everything and just learn as much as I can.
Do you have to hold yourself back from celebrating a goal?
Yeah, that's probably the thing I probably struggle with. Is probably clap a bit too much when we kick goals, but no, it's good. So yeah, no, enjoying it though.
And you're back training, some really good news.
Yeah, so started running this week, got a session tomorrow, so everything's heading in the right direction. It's good to be running around again.
Good news, mate.
Whispering
Thank
Richo
you.
up there. Not sure why. The coach, Alan Richardson, is down on the bench.
Well, respect for the other coaches, I would have thought.
Okay, well, I knew you'd have an answer, Duck. That's why I left it open. He's well up.
Do you ever argue with yourself, BT?
He's a great counter-puncher.
Weller driving footy. Jones with a backhanded fist to the boundary line. And boy, Bruce, don't you try and help your mate out?
Who do you reckon would get the forward 50 to themselves if these two were both in the forward line, Bruce?
Oh, I don't want to think about it. It's a Friday the 13th commentary, isn't it? It's a nightmare. Jones involved. Clark trying to get through. Rowe couldn't quite get it away. Curnow did. That was Ed Curnow.
Push!
And Mackay's free kick, I think, or is it? Yes, it is.
He's pushed him. Nah, he pushed him.
Really doesn't matter how good your defence is for the Blues. I mean, they've made some errors and they've got St Kilda have got goals from stoppages, but just repeat entries from St Kilda. You're eventually going to break, and that's exactly what's happened tonight.
Mackay's kicked down the line. Hickey not quite. And then Gilbert and Charlie Curnow. Good tackle by Curnow. Fisher gets on his bike. Good give. Didn't quite get it back from Garlett. And now does. Does he keep it in? No, and a boundary throw in.
Duck, they've got to make sure they don't break too badly, though, the Blues. They've got to make sure they finish this season off on a positive note. And tonight's an opportunity to have done that. And 47 points is just starting to get a little nasty against the team who's 15th on the ladder after last week's against Brisbane. So got to finish off this game strong.
Billings out to Armitage. Driving ball, won't get the depth. Silvani did well to cut it off. Just looking at Fisher of Carlton tonight, they love to get it in his hands. He looks like he's full of run and going to do something good with it every time he gets it, I reckon. Ed Curnow a little iffy with the kick, though. Very nervy with the kick. There was Ed Phillips, slid the handball. Here's Loney, low ball. Good grab, Marshall.
He looks like he's a good player, Marshall, BT.
Yep.
Clean.
2 metres.
Hands out in front. I know you love that.
Thank you.
If you don't mark it, you might get a chop of the arm.
Run around here, Doug. Shaping up that way.
Without a doubt.
So Marshall kicked the first goal of the game to get it over the 50-point margin. No problems, coming back beautifully. Well executed for his second.
To see how big he is there, we talked about it earlier, Lingy. I mean, he's a likely type, isn't he? He's 22, so he's not a kid.
No, he's not. In his 8th game, moves well. And as you saw then, good on the lead, good, strong hands.
Looks like a popular bloke amongst his teammates. His 2 goals, there's a number of blokes who got to him with genuine smiles, and obviously a good teammate.
So you just talked about the reaction, guys, to, you know, second goal. I mean, he likes it too, but again, have a look at this. Well, we see his reaction, and then the boys get amongst him too. So he's got a bit of X-factor about him, hasn't he, the big Marshall? And St Kilda marching away here. They're having a dominating term. Stephen has been a big part of that. Jack Stephen. Ed Curnow held up and a ball up.
Whether the handball was there or not.
Gresham's the one guy that probably hasn't got on the end of much tonight. He's been the big goal kicker, hasn't he? He's the one that at least Carlton have kept control of.
Cripps to Dow. Dow a bit of time here.
Oh, well done.
Inside, off hands, Paulson. Little one. Didn't get enough on it. Out of bounds on the full, but he was under savage pressure.
Did Garlett mean that? Because he did. It was very clever.
McKenzie. Back into Phillips. So the Saints here threatening to blow, if it's not already wide open. 53 points at the moment. Been in control for most of the night.
Hold there.
Have kicked the last 4 goals in the game. Back to Webster. Webster knew he had to go to immediately. Stephen got Carlton. He can go back inside. Probably should have taken that kick to Gresham, I reckon. Little ball back in there now. Now he finds Gresham. Got the outside flowing run here from Carlisle with a bit of space. Little kick. Hickey cleared the path there. It was well done for Steele. Now got to go and get it. Thomas. O'Brien. Ed Curnow back to Daisy Thomas. High footy, got about 30 in it, got to go. Mackay did bravely. Really well done. Bailey Rice, equally as good. Handball comes back into the field of play. Clark got it off here. Mackenzie, clever knock. Jack Stephen, a looker running along the boundary line. Ed Curnow got him high.
Jim Mackay's going to be a good player, I reckon. He's going to be a good player.
I agree. Look at this contest. Cop everything. Straight up the middle, jaw, the whole lot, and just bounced up.
Yep,
Take his eyes off it.
He's got a lot to like about him, hasn't he?
Yes.
So Savage out wide. Gets to Mackenzie.
Thanks, Harry.
And these are the things that, honestly, there's not much else that you can talk about, Carlton. You've got to talk future, these little bits and pieces, because collectively at the moment they're really struggling. The gap between 16 and 18 and 15 and 18 and 17 and 18 has grown in the last few weeks. Little kick by Sinclair out wide. We saw Brisbane last week. I mean, I'm not sure about Gold Coast versus Carlton right now, but certainly the others are cleaning them up big time. Billings should kick a third goal. And does he hook it too far? He does. So it does look like the 17th team are going to beat them by 10 goals last week. The 15th team is probably going to have a similar margin tonight.
Yeah, you're right, Bruce. But what you've got to see, I think, for next year is that the growth is going to be there and the development is going to be there, and there's enough talent to grow into something good. With a few of these players, I reckon we can see that.
Oh, foot on the line here from Dale Thomas.
Ball up. It's a ball up. You just kick it down to Jeff,
Thomas
please.
and Simpson now have both done that.
There you go, foot on the line and a little bit over the line as well. 97 points, St Kilda. Only twice this year have they kicked 100 points, and they're about to make it 3. 769 days since the Blues last kicked 100 points in a game of footy. Off hands, Sinclair got a little time. Snap, too much perhaps. So St Kilda now peppering the goal front. So Thomas is going to have another go, and St Kilda supporters let him know, Bruce.
he's had a funny old night, Daisy, hasn't he?
Been pretty good.
He's been feisty, so that one all okay.
Holding, Carlton. That's your Cripps.
He's had statistically a huge night, Chris. He's played very well, hasn't he?
Yep. 20. This will be disposal 27, 19 contested.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Move it on. Yeah.
And he's careful with that kick, and it's a good one.
It's the outside.
To Murphy. So Murphy, third game back. He's had a really frustrating season. His kick's not a good one. Cut off.
Play on your round.
By Phillips. Now Savage, a good guy to have the ball generally. Just pops it up to Steele. He's done a fair job, even though Cripps has had all those numbers. Noons, bit of fancy footwork. Back to Steele, back inboard, and Billings gets himself into a goal-scoring position again. That's also easy. So BT gave the stat about the 100 points for the Saints, how elusive that's been this season. Twice only.
Yep.
And this, the chance to hit it right here and now. He's built his game, Billings, hasn't he? And it's been a pretty good effort tonight.
Loves playing against the Blues.
Yeah, those 5 goals you mentioned earlier, Wayne. It's going to be fascinating to see where he's at in 2 years' time, when he's fully matured and just what type of player he turns out to be. That one, not his best, obviously. And Thomas at the back did well. And he's Curnow.
So Ed Curnow, another iffy kick back inside. Hickey able to get on the end of it, cleans it up to Geary. Geary to Savage. Carlisle's there if he wants. He can go a little wider to Phillips if he wants as well. So there's plenty on offer for him. He says, no, I want to do the basic thing and go a little more direct for our team here. Footy inside 50, and Rowe marks uncontested in the end.
That was better from Rowe.
Yeah.
There's a couple of occasions tonight. He's worried about the body. He just kept his eyes on the footy on that occasion.
So a minute to go in the third quarter here, but they just can't get it out. Now's a big opportunity. Simpson, little handball out in front, needs some running help there. Bailey Rice in front, he couldn't control it. Kennedy mops it up to Murphy. Murphy steps inside 50, open goal square. Not accurate. Just the minor score, 6 goals. 8, so 1 goal, 3 in the quarter here for Carlton.
Gilbert. Only 200-game player out there tonight for the Saints. The only one on their list, actually. Got there this season, so still. He goes long, down the wing. They're in control, the Saints. Marshall in the contest with Silvani. Weller roved it well. Long kick, Nunes and Rowe. Rowe, fair job there. Nunes may collect, can't keep it in. And that should just about be it at three-quarter time. So the Saints have got Richmond next Friday night. They will go into that game with 3 wins from their last 4. Tigers have got a tricky match tomorrow night, haven't they?
They have. That'll be a great game.
Yeah, absolute big game for them and for the Giants. Massive game. So looking forward to all of that. So Nunes wins the free kick right on the siren. And I don't think he's going to bother.
Always have a shot.
Yeah. Crack at the talk from there.
Well, we saw guys at half-time.
Yeah.
Carlton draft barrel competition that barreled it over 60 metres. Why not an AFL player?
We spoke to Malcolm Blight last night.
Yes. Hope you're watching, Blighty. Let's see if he can do it. Well, Malcolm's feeling really good now. The one and only Blighty. Don't you worry, no one's going to do that again. Malcolm, 98-44. It's a big lead now for the Saints on this Friday night. 54 points over the Blues.
A little bit. Nathan Brown's obviously that big, strong defender that you absolutely love. So I'd say the Saints are certainly missing more tonight than what the Blues are.
And this is quite telling, isn't it? Because we think about the Blues being young and developing, but you look at that table.
I want to see them fight it out here. They cannot turn it up now and turn a 54-point deficit at three-quarter time into a 90 or 100-point loss. They've got to fight their way out of this, the Blues. Saints, they'll want to go on with it.
Well, let's see what happens here. Ed Curnow. Kennedy has tried hard all night. Rowe to Lamb. Bit of dash. High footy on the head of Charlie Curnow. Got to beat a couple as he always does these days. Carlisle banged in and able to stay standing. Now Mav Weller steps on the gas. Good looking ball to Stephen and Jones. Third man up. Jack Stephen gets the free.
Against Ed.
Jakey Carlisle just a bit sore after that bumpy cop. We know he's had issues with his ribs and the punctured lung. Trainer just going out and checking him out. That would have hurt.
So Jack Stevens sneaking another 15 metres to Billings. He does play on from right on 50. Good ball, Rowe. Nice mark.
All right, thanks, Tom. Just back to you, please.
And Rowe's short kick. So let's see if the Blues can respond here. Thomas to Murphy, two of their most experienced players, obviously, at the club. Mackay's pickup was okay, but got it whipped away. Geary's led very well. Kicks back to the pocket. Thomas will fetch it. And then takes Hickey on. Hickey tried to close him down. Did a good job, the big guy, didn't he? Did a really good job. And then Billings squares it up. And Weller's going to have a shot at goal.
That's part of the story for tonight, for the Blues. The delivery coming outside 50 at times under not a lot of pressure. Hickey was able to put Thomas under pressure on that occasion, but just poor decision. Just had to go long. If you're under that sort of pressure and you realise it, you've just got to go long towards the boundary, not try and finesse around the corner kick to the corridor.
So here is Carlisle coming from the ground.
Doesn't look good, does it?
No, we talked about the lung problem and the ribs. So he's going slowly off the ground as Weller brings up those 100 points.
All clear.
So just a slow, sure does, just a slow trot off for the key defender.
It's amazing, the recovery. I was surprised. Last week he missed because of the punctured lung. To be playing this week, I was shocked. I thought a punctured lung would take longer than that, but I'm certainly far from being a doctor.
Yeah, Jake Carlisle's just come off in front of me here, and obviously they're concerned about that rib problem that he has had of recent weeks. The other issue is Jimmy Webster just down to my right. He won't be coming back on. Bit of an issue with his groin, and they're not going to take a risk with him.
High contact.
Very sore coming off, Richo, towards you, didn't he?
Yeah, he's in a bit of pain, Jake, so we'll keep an eye on him, BT.
Yep, doctors are right in his face, making sure he gets all the necessary help. Here's Stephen. Bailey Rice, who's done okay, I reckon, in this game. Kick wide to Marshall. This guy's done really well.
He moves well.
Yeah. Comes up with the footy, can play high, can play deep. Kicks this one in very high, asking Membry to do a little too much in the air. Cripps out the back door. Shaw went and got it to Murphy. So the Blues from defence again, but can they get it past this point of the ground? In that third quarter, St Kilda owned just about all of the forward half action.
Play on, you wins.
Yes, and it's a correct call on Cripps as well, and Cripps kept his composure. Little handball to Mackay. Now Murphy, longish handball to Ed Curnow. Well done, Ed Curnow. Got it on to Lamb. Lamb tries to work the ball to Petrevski-Seton. Geary there with him. He did arrive late, and the kick wasn't great. Petrevski-Seton won it, but coughs it up. And now Jack Stevens through the middle.
Continuing to run hard and burst them apart. Sinclair taking on Garland, and then Sinclair's kick's a beauty to Membry. But just Lamb's kick to Petrevski-Seton just... Oh.
They were out, Carlton. They'd done all the hard work here over near the boundary in confined space. They were out and just had to hit that kick, and there were options inside forward 50. Instead, it's a turnover, and St Kilda do all the right things, use the ball well down the ground.
And on the flip side, as a forward, you just love midfielders running through the corridor with no pressure. It's a dream come true. Membry love that.
Twice he's kicked 5 goals against the Blues in the past. He kicked 6 straight against the Eagles this year. Kicked 1-5 against the Dockers. He's had a strange old season, but it's developing into a good season. And that one, well, again, a poster. So 4 posters for the Saints tonight.
He's had at least 2 of them.
Yep. And 1 for the Blues.
Nice kick by Simpson to Thomas. He goes the flying right foot banana on the run. It's a difficult kick to kick on the run with great effect.
That's why you should practice on your left.
Savage to Gilbert.
And Pickett had made the lead towards the boundary on the basis of him kicking it on his left.
Yeah. What percentage of the current AFL footballers, Duck, do you think are reasonably capable on their non-preferred side?
It's a good question, and to be honest, I don't know the exact, but I'd say less than 50.
Yeah, I reckon it'd be less than 50 too. It's good to agree with you. Fisher. Little one to Kennedy. Jack Stephen, head over the footy, won the hard one down low, had to absorb the punishment. Rowe also doing well for the Blues, and this will end in a boundary throw-in.
Speaking of what you're talking about, I reckon we got the best example with Steele Sidebottom last weekend with a bloke that can kick both feet, eh?
Yep. Remember the one from the boundary line?
Yeah.
That was that bump. That's why Jake Carlisle has gone to the bench. He was straight away after that. As soon as he got rid of the handball, just down on all fours.
Because Matthew Cruz are sort of breathless tonight and unable to come back on. So a couple of those, the Blues going forward. Savage just rolls it over. And now quickly out to Gresham. He's had a strange night, Gresham. You would have thought with this scoreline he's probably kicked his 4 or 5, wouldn't you? He's the one that probably is going to go home tonight and think, gee, I could have had a bigger night. Loney takes the mark from Sinclair. Done his bits and pieces, Loney. He's at the moment with all due respect, a fringe player at the club. He's not definitely in or out. Bits and pieces of both. Billings, good night. Had a few shots at goal, kicked a couple, just sets it up for Membry, not quite. Armitage got a high one, read it well, bouncing it, not going to be a goal. And Curnow getting back. 119 is the Saints' highest score this year. That was against the D's. So they might close in on that. So they got 100 against Brisbane in round 1, and then 100 in that. Their best performance of the year, you would have thought, against Melbourne.
Well, this is exactly what Richo wanted to do tonight. He wanted to play this way, wanted to score efficiently and highly, and that's exactly what they've executed.
Out wide. I'm amazed that kick was a good example going into their half-forward line. The players these days, Lingy, love to hug the boundary line, don't they? They don't want it too shallow to give the opposition team a chance to attack.
They like to defend with the footy, which is what's changed so much over the past decade. When you used to win the footy, it was, well, how can we score? How can we get the ball down to our forwards as quick as we can? Now it's where can I kick the ball to where I'm not going to get scored against?
Yeah, not going to get exposed. Exactly. Even in this position here, you see them, particularly when they've got a set play down the line. Now Petrevski-Seton can go here from deep on the boundary line and misses. Tough shot from there, though. So 60 points, 33-odd thousand in the house here tonight. I didn't think they'd get the 33, but they have tonight. It's a.
Are they your numbers or are they official?
No, they're just guesses, Bruce.
I don't know. That's a good number, and I'm not saying you're not right, because you are spot on with crowds. I just wondered if that was official or you were making it up.
No, I'm just making it up at the moment until it's official.
Something tells me he may be proven to be correct.
Yeah, no, he's pretty good with those, I reckon. He's a bit sneaky sometimes. Gilbert's kick to Armitage. And BT's the best I've ever worked with those numbers. Ball coming out. Dow to Petrevski-Seton. Now, can he find a target? Cripps is the target. The big body Savage just did enough. Dunstan gets it back to Geary. Geary, they run it out.
It was nice control by Dunstan, that's for sure. Rice, Billings involved. The little give and go back here onto Billings's left foot. What a kick it was. Look at that for Sinclair. Didn't have to break stride and misses. Quick, concise transfer of play.
Well, that's a training drill.
Yeah.
From one end to the other.
Double the number of scoring shots now. Could have really been nasty if they'd kicked straight the Saints.
Almost double the amount of inside 50s as well.
So Curnow to Curnow, perhaps. Gilbert. Charlie Curnow worked really well. Dow, Fisher, couldn't quite. Armitage. It's come back well, Armitage, over the last month or so. Phillips got it from Dunstan to Steele. And then Steele spreading it, but not a great kick, but it might work for them here. Noons, good tackle, though, by Garland. Did well. Noons got it away, and then he tripped Garland. Advantage should be taken by Kennedy.
Well done by Garland.
Yeah, it was. Back to Lamb. Let's see if he can hit the target here, Lamb. Silvani had to search for it. He's in no man's land. Kennedy over the top's okay. Gets it to Pickett and then hugging the line for Cripps. Richo?
Jake Carlisle back on the bench, Bruce, and Doc Barber walked past and said, no, he's all good, he's all ready to go. So that's really good news for Jake. When he came off, he looked pretty sore, so great news for St Kilda.
And Ryan, sitting on your right, Richo on your right in that
Yes.
back row, is he the head of fitness?
That's Matty Hornsby.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got on the laptop here all the GPS numbers, so we can see what each player's done around the ground.
How much control is he having on who stays on and who comes off, Richo?
No, he's not controlling the rotations,
Okay.
but just keeping an eye on the GPS.
Simpson, little one, Murphy, difficult pick-up. Attempt, Dunstan, been pretty good. Here's Rice.
Richo, just one. Is Alan Richardson still down there? Has he coached from the ground all night?
Yes, he has. He's been here all night. So, yeah, Richo's going to stay down here for the duration tonight.
Murphy told to go. Just props it there. Charlie Curnow ran into a bit of a brick wall, so Cripps came in from the side and almost did a little bit of aerial damage. Sinclair to Savage. Nice ball. Phillips going backwards. Jones coming at the footy with great pace. Mackay, Jones, handball, Petrevski-Seton. Little smother there was important with the hand from the Saints. Gresham now inches the ball out of defence, and this gives Loney a chance to go. Look at Armitage in the middle of the ground. He picks up a beautiful half volley, feeds it out. They're away here. Opportunity for Noons. Changes direction. Ran a fair way. Ran a long way. Just looking to straighten up with a change of direction.
Well, we saw this often last year, didn't we? The way they're playing tonight.
Yep.
Just taking the game on.
And Wayne, we're going to get a real examination next Friday night against Richmond, aren't we? Here.
Sure are.
So we're going to really find out where they're at. I mean, they've been pretty impressive tonight, haven't they?
They have.
They've done what they've had to do tonight.
Only beat who's put in front of you, Lingy.
Yep.
So Curnow, dangerous kick, but that one's okay. Garland, he's a good mover. Kicks to centre wing. Kennedy kept his eye on it. Well done, though, by Clark. The youngster in his first year. He's looking likely, isn't he? That's a nice kick down the line. Marshall's been good. He just couldn't hold that. Petrevski-Seton in board. Bouncing ball, Curnow. Garland, oh, just a little bit too cute. Fisher in trouble. Had to get rid of it in a hurry. Curnow had to get down low. He's attacked by Noons and Gilbert. Ball not coming out, and it'll be a stoppage.
Just interesting, when the fans turn up. This man here, Friday night footy, next Friday night, Richmond St Kilda. A couple of them here just sizing up the opposition, perhaps warming their seats. I'm not sure, Bruce, but...
Can't get enough of it, Tigers fans.
They're here early, that is for sure.
Dimmer scouts, eh?
And they are unusual, the Richmond fans.
Well, when you're sitting pretty on top of the ladder, I suppose that's all you'd want to do is go to the footy.
Well, it's hard to get a seat at any Tigerland game these days, so he's looking at them and going, yeah, I think we've probably got them covered.
33,780, the official crowd. I am never, ever, ever going to question you again.
It was very close, wasn't it, Bruce? Curnow, that was Ed in amongst it. Here's an opportunity for Clark to bust the tackle. Slot straightens, misses, so a lot of misses, but 62-point margin now with the Saints.
And their scoring accuracy has been a subject most of the year too, hasn't it, with the Saints? So they haven't had the best night with that. They've had so many opportunities. Fly there from Curnow. Clark having a good little patch here to Noons and goes back inboard to Marshall. Spreads it. Now Savage is a beautiful kick. What will he do here? Well, he kicks it straight to Silvani. Sorry about that. There you go.
Silvani, just the 7 touches.
2 metres, Sam.
Or 8 touches of the footy here tonight.
Tried him down back for a little while, BT, just to try something else.
Yep.
Middle of the year, he's struggling up forward. They tried him as a midfielder. So just trying to find where he's going to be best suited.
Hickey didn't quite strike it. Remember, he's got plenty of speed. Jones did well in front. Curnow, sharp handball. Here is Silvani, went and got it. Needs to get rid of it. Did well, kept his composure there. Garlett. Shaw. Now Ed Curnow. High footy to centre wing. Cripps backing back. Gresham almost giving away the free. Dow there as well with Gresham. And look at the Saints fans applauding out there. Happy with any little win on the way to this victory tonight.
Not so much the Blues supporters, but they couldn't help but love Paddy Cripps. 31 disposals, 21 contested possessions, and it'd have to cross his mind at some stage. So why bother a little bit when getting beaten by 10 goals, but he just keeps fighting. He's such a proud, strong competitor.
Jack Stephen over the 30. Good stuff to Billings. Now, how creative will he be here? Beautiful kick again for the second time in the final term. And Noons, a chance to kick a third goal. He's having a good goal-scoring year, Noons. Billings playing well. Noons, 104 consecutive games. So only what, Westhoff, I think 116, and Zach Tui 131. So in front of Noons, they're the three with over 100 games. So he's certainly not a high-profile player. He was part of the Lynch swap, wasn't he? Lynch went to the Crows, but he's building a solid CV, isn't he?
Yep.
And having, I would have thought, his best season. Can he kick a third goal here? He does, so he's had a good night. So's his team. It's a good night for the Saints. It is deflating for Carlton. And the Cripps comment you made a moment ago is an interesting one. He must be exhausted mentally and physically. And, you know, unless they improve, you wonder how he's going to improve in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, especially this part of the year. Such a tough part of the year. When you know you're not playing finals footy, and just to keep coming up and putting your body on the line as he does is having a sensational year.
Just the second time in his career that he's got to 3 goals or 3 goals plus. Noons, his teammates really enjoying it as well. Come how you want to the footy.
And you know what, BT, they haven't had much to cheer about this year, have they? So they're having a good night.
They are indeed. This will make it 4.5 wins for the year for the Saints. Richmond next Friday night. Here's Ed Curnow. In fact, 6 of their last 7 games here at Etihad Stadium, the Saints. Silvani to Petrevski-Seton. Been an up and down year for them, no question about it. Rice in front. Beautiful pick up, Paulson. Couldn't quite make it work. Geary has been a good leader tonight for the Saints as well. He's been tough.
I know we've mentioned it a couple of times tonight, but the frustrating thing, you see Brendan Bolton, we talk about skill errors, handball errors, but just easy taking of a handball or easy marks, drop chest marks. There's been so many of those for the Blues tonight.
So is that skill, Duck, or is that confidence?
Well, it's both. It's both.
Can I throw in decisions as well? Because they had a free kick in the middle of the ground, and yet they went 4 handballs towards the boundary. You get it there, you back yourself, you got one-on-ones, go straight at the goals, give your forwards some sort of chance.
Yeah, I'd like to see them go a little more direct and simply as well. Noons turns and goes. Marshall did well, didn't panic. Knew he was going to be caught, but got it off to Noons again. That was a pretty good pickup for a big man on the left. Hickey, and then the neat little handball was even better. And almost a sensational Gresham goal.
Well done, Hickey. Who is the #1 ruckman, do you reckon, to St Kilda? Who's their best ruckman?
I think Alan Richardson's still playing it well and saying, you know what, guys?
Sort it out.
Show me. Show me the rest of this season and show me into the next pre-season, and whoever is the best will be there round 1.
He's been good tonight, Hickey, but against no ruckman.
No Cruiser, yeah. Yeah, that would have been a more examination. Oh, he'll get a good test with Nankervis next week.
Oh, yeah.
A good competitive test, won't he? Yeah. So, what about Charlie Curnow? You started the night with him, Duck. How's he played?
He's been okay. He's done some really, really good things, but spent time in the ruck, and I think that obviously threw him out a little bit and his team out a little bit, but he keeps coming. What's he had? 14 disposals. I think Charlie, 16 disposals, kicked a goal.
Clark White, so...
And only 34 inside 50s.
Yeah.
Doesn't help.
Not much service forward. You give him a tick, I reckon.
Yep.
Does Cripps get votes tonight? I mean, it's going to be fascinating. You mentioned at the start of the night that he might win a Brownlow off a team that's at the moment winning 1 game, but could he possibly do that, do you think?
You don't feel like you could give a player 3 votes in a team that loses by 70 points. So maybe the 1 vote. I love the way he plays, so I'm biased. I'd give him a vote, but probably not. 70-point difference.
Down to you, Richo, with Richo, eh?
Yeah, Richo, 20 more scoring shots. You've got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, no, the guys have been positive. Yeah, really pleased with their... not pleased with Jaron Geary's kick just then, but no, their pressure on the opposition on the Blues has been first class. From the first bounce right up until this part of the game, they've continued to hunt really strongly and put a lot of pressure on, and we've been able to benefit from that.
20-minute mark of the last quarter in a game like this. Are you feeling more relaxed now, or are you in it right till the end?
Yeah, well, our last couple of results, Richo, both of them been 2 points, our positive results. So, no, look, our last, that's 3 out of 4 for us now. We've been starting to build, and it's not who we play, it's how we play, and I really like the way the guys are going about their footy tonight.
Thanks again for having us there tonight.
No worries, you're our lucky charm, mate.
Come back next week.
So Simpson gets the goal. Not sure if, Richo, you will come back next week. They're playing Richmond, so that would really test you, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, being a bit of strife then.
Just thinking aloud, and I might say this again in a sec, it's a home game for St Kilda next week with Richmond at Etihad. That's a big deal for them, and this doesn't hurt them at all, does it? I mean, we're going to get a mob, aren't we?
Yep. Packed house.
Good for this. Just thinking ahead to next week when St Kilda hosts Richmond here on a Friday night, it'll be a massive crowd and a good night for St Kilda in terms of a financial return.
Well, 33 in a home game tonight. They're going to get 45 plus next week against the Tigers for sure, I would have thought, Bruce. So here's Thomas. 3.5 minutes remaining. Garlett not going anywhere from there. We'll ball it up.
Simpson's first goal this season, by the way.
Yep.
Very good year, as we know.
Yep. Game 301, 132 career goals. Played all 15 games this year. Cade Simpson, he's just a Trojan.
Missed last week with the calf,
this one,
the calf last week. He hadn't missed for so long, I think 70-odd consecutive BT. I think he's missed 6 games in about 12 or 13 seasons or something.
Yeah, no, he's been a very consistent, reliable teammate.
One of those players who's going to have a big influence on the game next week for the Saints if they're going to be competitive is Jack Stephen. He's been superb tonight, 32 disposals. His run and work, and love that with his Telstra tracker heat map there. Forward of centre, 2 goals. That's when he's at his absolute best, doing his work in the forward 2/3 of the ground.
Marchbank, Silvani, neatly out of trouble. Cripps, great little give. Petrevski-Seton, Murphy back to Petrevski-Seton, and he finds Pickett. Pickett inside, Petrevski-Seton again. Still got rid of the handball, did it legally, it was okay, said the umpire. Little one from Billings was very, very quick to Weller. He was run down magnificently by Pickett on that occasion. Going back to get it here. Long handball comes out in the direction of Steele. Now Steele, that's a better direct ball when early Marchbank read it well. Silvani was in the right spot and is able to get it out in the direction of Mackay.
He sits it up now, Mackay. He's had a couple of really magic moments, the big guy. He'll certainly play the rest of the season. You would think Rowe takes that mark. So the Blues, only a couple of goals after half-time. Silvani getting a bit more of the ball in this last quarter off that back line. Dow's been okay. It's up to about 17 or 18, I think. Kicks to full forward. Kennedy, good. Oh, play on call. Thought he had a fair bit of it, and then the handball's not going to quite give Pickett what he wanted. And a boundary throw in.
The second line, mate. I felt the first blow gets a clear touch on. That's why I called play.
So Clark, did he get the first touch?
No, that's a mark.
Yep, he's a bit unlucky. The number 7-8. Nothing much has gone right for the Blues tonight. And you do wonder if they can scrape another win this season. Not sure.
Thanks, Paddy. Straight up, guys, please. Rowan and Sam again. Rowan and Sam again, yep.
Of course, they beat the Bombers, which was great for them, but really has hurt Essendon. Oh, that's a throw. A throw by Rowe.
Advantage.
How did they beat Essendon?
And here's the run being set up outside for Billings. Winks over the top to Steele, back to Billings now. He's going to have to retreat a little. Rubber kick. Jack Stephen made that kick look better than it was. It was a difficult pick-up, back into Billings now. They can go. Clark gets around one pretty easily, probably too easily, and Armitage spearing ball in there to Membry. Trying to keep it working in Loney. Nice handball here. Clark got it out here. They go again. Marshall, neat little kick. Good stuff, and finds Loney. So Jack Stephen, 33 touches tonight. Jack Steele, 31, and Jack Billings, 29. There are plenty more Jacks like Sinclair at 24 as well. Jacks are plenty.
15 gone.
That's St. Kilda.
Play on.
Around the corner from Loney, and didn't quite get the ball to spin the way he wanted.
Hit the post, I think, didn't it?
Yep.
So what's that, 5 for the Saints tonight? 5 for them. So close to that highest score of the year. It's been a shellacking in the end. A long talk by Silvani. McKenzie couldn't quite, so well done by Steele. He's had a pretty good night. I mean, Cripps has had a lot of it, but so is he. Geary's been terrific. So St Kilda with a big, big win. So they've now won 3 out of their last 4, and they've got Richmond next Friday night. Friday the 13th, a nightmare for the Blues, but a good ending if you're a Saint.
When the Saints go marching in, when the Saints go marching in, oh how I want to be with St Kilda, when the Saints go marching in.
So, Richo, terrific win in the end. The 3 out of their last 4. And you with Jay Carlisle, who gave us all a bit of a scare, didn't he?
Yeah, we did, Jake. You came up there in the last quarter. I thought you were gone, mate. What was the issue?
Yeah, I was struggling a bit with my Richo. Yeah, first was the ribs, did me back in the warm-up, and then copped a good knock from, I think, Garland in the chest. It was sort of good, didn't need me, so we've kept the 52 and we've won, which is pleasing.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 now, just starting to build some momentum. It must be pleasing after, a month ago, the critics were out.
Yeah, obviously, we've had a struggling a year to date, but the last 3 or 4 weeks has been very positive. I don't know what the numbers were tonight, but our contest is what we value, and we just weren't quite producing that for the first 10 to 12 rounds, so it's good to see that, results are showing just from our pressure and contest, so it's good.
The pressure you just mentioned, particularly inside your forward 50 tonight, was outstanding.
Yeah, it sort of helps, when we're winning the hit-outs as well. I don't know what's wrong with the crews, but felt like every time the ball went up, we were getting it inside our 50, which is pleasing. So always helps me because I don't have to do too much when the ball comes the other way, but it's always good.
Mate, before the game, you spoke on radio and said your lung issue, it felt like you were having a heart attack. It must have been pretty painful, man.
Yeah, obviously I haven't had a heart attack. I don't know what it's like, but you just feel like you're just short of breath. You've got a sharp pain, and I was lucky, I did everything right to try and get up for tonight, and I'm going to be a bit sore tomorrow. Thanks, mate.
Certainly an important player, I think, to really do something in the next 2 or 3 years, the Saints. You feel like he'll be the cornerstone of that defence. They had a lot of good players, Richo, you're working amongst them. They were pretty impressive, and you had some incredible access there tonight, and you're going to get some more here with a bloke who's, I think, having a good year now, don't you, with Membry?
Yeah, you say, Timmy, you turned it around, mate. The kicking boots are back on, and it must have taken a lot of positivity from you because for a few weeks you were struggling a little bit.
Yeah, look, I was, and I guess the main factor was I wasn't, shying away from it. Got Dicko down there, and he kept me pretty calm and maybe keep concentrating. It wasn't something that I was going to keep going away from. Just got to keep making the most of the opportunities.
There's plenty of advice around when you're missing a few, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. You hear a lot from everyone. Even the old man was chipping in, which is never good. But yeah, like I said, you just got to get back to the basics and feel that rhythm from me.
Mate, great pressure up the ground tonight. You got some really good looks inside 50.
Yeah, I guess that was a focus going into the game. When we play our best footy, our pressure's right up there. And we started the game that way, and I think we finished it that way as well.
Big game next Friday night. It'll be a full house here against Richmond, so another really big test.
Yeah, and that's right. And I think that, there's no better test in the competition at the moment coming up against Richmond. So I know our guys are going to have to recover well and be up for the fight against those guys.
Beautiful, mate. I'll let you catch up with them. They got away from you there. Cheers.
You're watching Friday Night Footy on 5.
The next ranked Carlton player is enormous. I know there's a question mark over where his contract sits at the moment, and gee, that's probably the only disaster that can happen now for Carlton, is to not secure the signature of Patrick Cripps, but he's such an important player for them. He's a star, we know that. Fisher was all right tonight. Thought he showed some signs. Harry Mackay was a lot better than what we'd seen previously. But the Saints are the story, Jace, there's no doubt about that. It's a good win, a win they had to have. Yeah, you're right there. It's going to be a long haul for Blues fans, and I guess this game went the wrong way very early on when Matty Cruiser went off and wasn't able to resume his place out on the ground. A bit of shortness of breath, so they obviously weren't going to take any risks with him. But St Kilda, well, they're trying to grow. They're trying to pick up some momentum as we head towards the second half of the season. 3 of the last 4, as we mentioned. One of those was Melbourne, so that's a team that's expected to be round about in the September action. Gold Coast and probably tonight's game, Carlton, they were expected to win, but the Melbourne one was something of an upset, so a little bit of momentum for the Saints.
You've still got to win them.
Yeah, agreed.
And any team on their day can get up, so you've still got to bank the wins.
Yeah, and we know if your mindset's wrong in the modern game, you get beaten pretty quickly, but I suspect they'll have a little bit of fun here as they sing the song.